seek action. The NPL Driving World Cup is back with teamwork, precision, and enforcemanship as the world's best 4-man team go head-to-head with the goal to reach the final in Lyon. This is NPL Driving at its absolute best.
C'est parti à la batterie.
C'est pas un problème.
C'est le football, c'est la passion.
Oui, c'est pas mal. On est là
Vous êtes de plus en plus nombreux dans les tribunes. Quel bonheur de vous voir dans la pénombre pour l'instant, de voir cette fourmilière sur la piste qui sont en train de découvrir ce à quoi ils vont devoir faire face, cavalières et cavaliers. C'est une véritable équation à résoudre. Découvrir ces moments plus importants de la compétition qu'ils sont en train de voir maintenant, essayer de juger, d'appréhender ce parcours. Soyez toutes et tous évidemment les bienvenus pour cette belle soirée. Good evening, Alison.
Good evening, Yannick, and good evening to all of you who are settling in to these stands here at Longines et Lyon, concours hippique international, the 31st edition, and the first now of our sport and show evening. Sport to come first and then show later on, but there may be some show during the sport with the fabulous horse riders who are performing tonight.
Sport et évidemment le spectacle. Voilà, soirée sport-spectacle, ce qu'on vous propose. Du sport, de la belle équitation, vous y êtes habitués. Longines et Lyon, concours hippique international, va nous permettre donc de vivre cette soirée sous le signe bien sûr de la plus noble conquête de l'homme et ses stars attendues. Les meilleurs cavaliers internationaux se donnent rendez-vous. C'est une tradition quasiment dans cette saison indoor du circuit Coupe du Monde que de venir à Lyon et de goûter à la faveur du public lyonnais pour vivre justement ces grands moments de sport. Nous sommes à quelques minutes maintenant du coup d'envoi du premier couple à venir nous rejoindre. Installez-vous, prenez place, on a le plaisir de découvrir avec vous bien évidemment cette soirée qui va se courir donc en plusieurs temps. Une pièce qui va déjà se jouer en 2 actes. Le Grand Prix de Longines avec une partie au chronomètre pour les meilleurs qui se retrouveront donc pour le tableau final, ce qu'on appelle un barrage. Autant vous dire qu'on va avoir notre lot d'émotions comme chaque année pour savoir évidemment celles et ceux qui vont se succéder et qui vont prendre le relais à tous ces grands noms qu'on a le plaisir de voir gagner justement ces rendez-vous. Vous vous rappelez certainement de Rock Nixon, Pénélope Le Prévost, Thomas Meyer, Marc Macaulay, Daniel Dozor, Kevin Stott, Stoppage, Julien Bayard qui l'a gagné 2 fois, 2 années consécutives, et Victor Bettendorf. Bon, eh bien mesdames, mesdemoiselles, messieurs, soyez les bienvenus en France, soyez les bienvenus à Lyon. Lyon accueille le gradient mondial. Bienvenue en France.
Very good evening, everybody. Welcome along to Lyon. I'm Gareth Jenkins, delighted to be with you here in a big week of sport that will include the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup in Lyon. Tonight it is the qualification class, the qualifier for Sunday's second leg of the Western European League. And the big names, the star names, both horses and riders, are very much in the lineup here this evening. Packed house as ever here in this arena for Longines et Lyon Concours Hippique International, the 31st edition here in this fabulous city. Of course, a city filled with wonderful cultural heritage that connects both Roman times to the modern times. Well, out there it is time to have a little look at the course, and the riders have been doing that. Gregory Bordeaux, France's leading course designer, the man who has set many big tracks in his career, very much part of the team here in Lyon, of course, for a number of years, and has been building this one, which I think tonight should set quite an interesting challenge. There is Julien Epillard, of course, Previous back-to-back winner of the Grand Prix here, Gerrit Nieberg, also out there having a look. There's a great lineup of both French riders and, of course, riders from all over the globe that have come here to have a little look at that famous Longines wall. The wheel has been out, the course has been measured. Just waiting to ensure we have confirmation on that time allowed before we give it out. But Sunday's going to be a big day. Of course, we've already seen Oslo as the opening leg of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup season, as the qualification is underway for Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas, next April. And that opening win. In fact, the winner is here tonight, and Sandy Tyson and Cupcake are part of this field for the Grand Prix on a Friday evening. Plenty of twists, plenty of turns for them to get their heads round. Olivier Peru out there, another of the top French stars, all the big names from France, making sure they are very much part of this class. Philippe Rosière out there as well. Was the man that's jumping in his last five-star event here this week. There is Gregory Bordeaux, the man who's set the courses and the tracks for this evening. It's a 13 obstacle track, 16 jumping efforts. Time allowed is 72 seconds, and it's a 1 meter 60. Interesting to see how that time balances out around this course of Gregory's. Plenty for them to think about all the way through to that combination that comes down the final line. We're going to have a little look at it all right here, right now, as we zoom on down to the arena floor, starting over the parallel at fence number 1. They roll back round the corner to the FEI, the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup fence. And again, I think it's all very much up there in terms of height from the beginning. It's interesting here, he's going 2 strides, double the parallels, a little bit narrow obviously coming out. It's only 1 meter 25, the width of that back rail. Roll round the corner, quite a skinny little fence in the middle, standing right up at 1 meter 60, and then down into this 3-strided line, the parallel to the upright, again standing over that Cheval TV fence at 1 meter 60. Round the corner to the CWD, usually big open turns on the corners to allow the horses to have to balance up or make sure they keep concentration. And this down to the water tray before they turn back to this beautiful Longines famous wall. Standing there nice and proud in front of the stands. 1 meter 60, they come back here to the horseware fence and then down to fence number 11 before turning into the final line, which on this occasion is the combination upright, parallel, upright, 1 stride and 1 stride, and then 4 strides down to what is the last. The finish of the course set by Gregory Bordeaux to challenge them tonight. Lots to think about out there. This is the start list for this evening. Certainly France cramming in at the beginning, but there's many a name in there from the likes of Jean Savard or G. Post in the early parts of the draw. Rosière mentioned, Penelope Leprevost, all very, very popular here. Eve Jobs, the star from the USA tonight, has Cante Bruno, Edouard Schmidt there as well. Jose Maria Loroca from Argentina, of course, his Grand Prix winner, 5-star in the past. Gregory Waterley, of course, has won the World Cup here before. That was on James Bond a couple of years ago. Olivier Peru, of course, another big name. Martin Fuchs, what a story he's carved out in Lyon over the years. He won the World Cup class 3 years in a row. Well, Bertram Allen, the young star from Ireland, Swiss star Barbara Schneiper, Kevin Staud, another of the big names from France, and then as you look a little further down, Willem Greve already been in winning form here today. Harry Charles, the British Olympic team gold medalist, has got his teammate Ben Mayer, the world number 2 to come, but also the European champions here tonight, Richard Vogel with Gangster. And of course Richard and United Touch won the World Cup class here 12 months ago. Gerhard Sebastian Gullicksen's been in tremendous form. The Norwegian rider went well just recently. Gerrit Nieberg and his big winner of late on the global tour, Ping Pong, that beautiful coloured for Germany. Sandy Tyson and her Oslo winner of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup class with Cupcake Z. As we get down to the back end of the draw, you can see the likes of Elia Robert, Nadia Peter Steiner and the beautiful Mila has got a nice late draw, so lots to think about as we try to pick out some of the names as we fly through the order. But it has been a class. The likes of Julian Epilot's had a lot of success. The Grand Prix always coming on the Friday night, and then it acts as the qualifier for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup class on Sunday afternoon. We'll wait to see who comes out on top of this one this evening, but France has certainly had their share of success in it over the years, and we'll see if it's another from France in front of this home crowd that are very much behind, well, they're very much behind all of them to be fair, but always looking to see if one of their riders can push their way to the top. So they're just having a little look around the course themselves. From the arena side, there's that combination. Look at the big wide stretch in the middle of that. It's 1.60 metre wide, and you've just got the 3 poles down in the front, and then you come down to that finishing fence at the end of that line. It's 4 stripes then down to the parallel to finish. So GL Events fence is the solid colours very much used throughout different parts of this course, and all something for them to consider and take care of. Well, there was a bell in the background, which means I think we're edging ever closer to the start of the night. And as I said, it's a packed house. It always is in Lyon. One of 2 trips that we'll make on the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup circuit to France. Of course, Bordeaux in February. But Lyon really kicking into gear now this indoor season. Of course, Helsinki, which we're so used to having between Oslo and here, has moved to the other end of the calendar. But now with Lyon in the second part, and then we can, of course, get used to that journey through over the next few weeks and months ahead. Well, there's lots for these horses and riders to think about, but they're walking our way. Here's the young man that's going to be first out tonight. Big moment for him. Never easy when you get drawn out the hat first to go. And, just a few more minutes before we need the first in the arena. See lovely facilities here at the back as well. They're always thought through for the horses, for the riders. And it's a trifecta of World Cup events as well, because earlier today we saw the FEI Dressage World Cup. Tomorrow we'll kick off with the FEI Driving World Cup. And of course you can sprinkle in a little bit of ponies as well, because the FEI Ponies Jumping Series is here, which again is a great opportunity for the youth to be on the same bill as the stars of the here and now. But that gate is about set to open. The other side of it is the Longines clock to the right, just a minute away from saying we're under starters orders, and the gate will swing wide for this Grand Prix tonight, worth €105,500. That is the total prize fund, 1.60 metre. It's a straight jump off class. Oh, isn't that a nice little touch from his groom? Just a little kiss on the cheek to say good luck. And that, full marks to the grooms, the care, the love, the attention that they put in. Each and every one of them has that great understanding, and is such an important part of the team. But once the gate opens, it is over to the horse and the rider to work it all out together. Theodore Morris then is going to go first, the first of 2 Israeli riders involved in this class this evening. He's riding here with his European Championship horse, Kazan Z. Stallion is by Comme il faut, out of a Vagabond de la Pomme mare, 10 years of age. This is a horse that's had a little bit of time off after the Europeans in July. We've only had a couple of shows in October over the last couple of weeks in Lyon and Liège, just sort of building up to this part of the season. But of course he's played his role on a few Nations Cups through the year in the EEF series, and also had that top 3 finish in the 4-star Grand Prix in Montefalco back in May. Capable combination, but it's a big set of questions here this evening. It's only the 3rd time this horse has jumped at 1.60 metre. Let's just see how it all begins to unfold here tonight. This is the Grand Prix, the Longines Grand Prix. See how that back rail been narrowed up in the two-strided double. And all the way back round to this quite a skinny little fence. Delicate little plank at the end of the three strides. Push on a little for the 5. Oof. It came as a bit of a surprise. It breaks the rhythm. To this final line, he's done such a good job as the first to go. 74 the time allowed. He's just got one fence left to go. What a start this is turned into. Apologies, 72 the time allowed, my mistake, but it is indeed the last that goes, irrespective of that moment. And that 72 seconds is certainly something that they've got to consider. So, Theodoros. And now the turn of France's first challenge, and what a cheer this man is about to get here this evening. It's Bosti next up. It's worth listening to, really. It's always going to be one of the crowd favourites as Ballerine de Lyon. He's come here fresh off the back, of course, of a brilliant win last week. He was competing in Saint-Lô, where he took the win on Delph Denat HDC in the Grand Prix, but he jumped Ballerine as well there. And had a top 3 finish. Of course, he also won on the opening day in the qualifier for the Grand Prix. Oh dear. You need some power down that final combination. And a lovely bit of riding over the final fence. Unfortunately, one down. Comfortable with the clock, though. That's good to see. 68.82 rode with a good level of pace. They're running at 375 metres per minute this evening. And certainly finding it quite comfortable, in fact. But with it comes a fence down. So it's a score of 4. First shot for France this evening. Plenty more to come. Next to go, it is one of the young stars. There's plenty of young stars in this sport, but this young lady at 24 years of age has certainly carved out a place already as a big part of French show jumping. Helped the French team to that tremendous win in the Nations Cup in Brussels at Steffex back at the end of August, when the youth really did come to the fore. That day Bosti wasn't needed, but Diane Sadler herself has proven herself to be quite a winner. Won the Soromé back in March. Another tremendous indoor show that takes place in Paris. Tonight she's riding Dexter de Couglen. It's a top rider, championship horse. Now 12 years of age, this stallion by my Lord Carthago. They finished together in the top 4 in a big Grand Prix alongside the Longines League of Nations in Saint-Tropez back in September. Oh, she checked. What a lovely little bit of work together, horse and rider. Just understanding what they both needed to do in shortening up, and now down the final line. This is looking very good. Good on the clock, perhaps in. Yes, it is in, and there is the opening clear. What a star. Giassara for France delivers the opening clear round of the night in the Grand Prix here in Lyon. Hugely popular, I can promise you. Time and again, just proving how good she is. The only thing now that's going to prove, there was that moment she really did have to shorten up for the water trade, but what's now going to prove a little bit difficult is the fact that she's going to have to do the jump off from the front of the draw. She'll be first to go, but let's see who else comes next, because this is Alexa Ferreira. No, it's not. It's Megan Mosnier. We'll come to Alexa in a moment. French riders coming from everywhere. Megan, Grunetame. This is Grunetame. Lovely looking stallion by Conrad, 13 years of age. Jumped into the top 4 alongside the Longines League of Nations final in Barcelona. That was a very good couple of days for her. Of course, also helped the French team onto the podium in Avanche in that Nations Cup final in the EEF series. The top 3 finish in the Deauville Grand Prix. It's been a really strong couple of months for this combination. Time is going to get a little tight. Oh no, the last is gone. Just couldn't quite make the width. I mean, it's the widest fence on this course, coming at the end of this track. When you've got to presume a little bit of fitness and tiredness is coming into it, and you need that extra big effort. And unfortunately, just not quite able to reach out over that back rail. She was okay with the clock, just 71.11, but it's a score of 4 from Megan Mosnier, and fascinating course from Gregory Bordeaux here this evening. Now to another French rider that's been going so well, Alexa Ferreira, now up into the world's top 60. She's got her 10-year-old mare, Vitalis Flodos. This mare by Olympus Merez has been having some very strong results, including Liège just the other day, where she finished 5th in that Grand Prix. Oh dear, early fence, the double going down. She's had a few impressive wins as well over the summer, if you think back to Dinar and to Valkenswaard, but today it's a different fence for a different horse. And that final line costing them a little more. So it is a total of 12 for Alexa. With Vitalis Flodos. 5 have gone, 1 is clear. Early stages of this Longines Grand Prix here this evening.
That was the performance of Francis Alexa Ferrer.
Bon, ben, pour l'instant, on est avec un parcours parfait. Jeanne Sadran qui offre la
Of course, she's one of the riders already qualified for Sunday. Important round tonight for this man, Philippe Rosier, 62 years of age. He has announced that this will be his last five-star event. Stepping aside, letting the younger generation come through. He's still going to be riding, but he's decided to pull back from the top level. So using this week, I mean, he first jumped on a championship team back in 1982. His first Olympics was 84 in LA. Of course, he was part of the gold medal winning team, that famous quartet in Rio, when he rode Rapatep de Toscan. But that is not the start he needed tonight with Le Couture de Mousse. Be plenty wishing him well and hoping he goes out with a big result this week. This Stallion 14 by Presley Boy. It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it, where just one moment in one place on this course and suddenly you get the penalties to go with it. He's picked up a time penalty to add to it, but 4 and 1 is 5 for Philippe Rosier. Still 2 more days for him at the top level. Well, now to Italy and to the ever popular Giorgio Bucci, world's top 60 once more. In fact, just thinking back, of course, we were talking about Alexa Ferrer and Vitalis. It was they that finished in 4th in Barcelona in the Grand Prix. Well, this combination finished 3rd in that Grand Prix of the city of Barcelona. Giorgio, who's got Cantano here as well, the horse that took him to the win in Madrid in the FEI Jumping World Cup last season. But he's played such a key role in the Longines League of Nations this year, really helping the Italians to some quite brilliant results. But this 10-year-old mare by Casago, Kiss Me Fabulous. He ends up finding his little tap on a plank, costing him 4 penalties. Time. Picked up a time penalty, 72-73. Pier Giorgio. Kiss Me Fabulous. Tonight not working for him. As the challenge early on from the Italians, therefore finishing on a total of 5. And goes back to the quality of that clear round. And Gia Sandra, 3rd to go, who made it look so simple. You just know it's anything but. Well, what is this now? The 3rd we've seen of the 4. There's all 4 in the field this evening of France's Olympic gold medal winning team from Rio de Janeiro in 2016. And here is Penelope Lebrevas. So long, France's leading lady in show jumping. This is Henning Flamingo, the lovely mare, the 10-year-old by Casago. Comes here off a strong result in the Grand Prix of Saint-Lô. They've put in some pretty good results all summer. I think back to the jump-off they got into in Deauville. So been jumping well down in Yassin in Saint-Tropez. It's interesting this week because her daughter is also jumping here. Eden. Oh dear. That's exactly what we saw Pierre Giorgio do, but I was going to say Penelope's daughter is here. 21-year-old French young rider who took the individual silver medal at the Young Rider Championships in the summer, and she was jumping in the 5-star class a little earlier on today. Did manage to beat her mum as well. She finished equal 6th. Certainly safe with the clock. There's no issues there with any Flamingo, but a little brick came out of the top of that Longines wall. And that made for a total of 8. So, still just the one. Well, it is the USA's challenge here this evening. Eve Jobs, of course her husband Harry Charles jumping as well in this class, the British rider. But Eve, who arrives here after a very strong trip down to Lyon, the Spanish venue where these two were second in the 3-star Grand Prix. Canto Bruno, now 14 by Canto Blanco. Different fence again on this course. Another to finish with one fence down, so a score of 4 from the USA's challenge here this evening. Eve Jobs. Looking then towards Sunday, hopefully. Of course, she qualified for the World Cup final back in 2019. That was a great year for her because she also was part of the bronze medal winning team at the Pan Am Games for the USA. Edward Schmitz up next. This is Kuno. Edward, obviously 26 years of age now, but he's been just such a part of that sort of major setup and success as well, we should say, really, for Swiss show jumping. Came straight out of the youth category into the senior category, didn't he, really, in the World Championships back in 2022. And of course, again qualified for the World Cup final in Basel earlier this year. He's come here after spending a few weeks down in Morocco on that tour through September, beginning of October. These two actually took a top 3 finish in the Grand Prix in Rabat in the 4-star in September. He's doing a great job here at the moment. Both of them, they're looking pretty good. They'll get pretty tight to the time, but I think they're okay. Surely they are. Oh, they certainly are. We have a jump off. Edouard Schmitz gives the Swiss their clear. Gian Sandrin knows who at least one of the contenders against her will be. There's a lovely little look, isn't there? That sort of moment of relief. The job is done. The concentration breaks into a smile. Great news. So the jump off guaranteed. Wondered if it could have gone. Oh, still could see a lot of clears yet. There's so many still to go. Who knows? Right, Nathan Budd, Belgium. Toredo Blue Z. It's Stallion now 11th by Toulon. Third in Liège last week in that Grand Prix that Bosti won. And this is a horse that has certainly shown a lot of talent. It's part of the team in Belgium that finished in second place in that in Belgium. It's part of Belgium's team, is perhaps the way around to say it, in St. Gallen. Going back to May, of course, when the Belgium team finished in second place. They've been able to bring together some really high quality rounds in some big classes. Jumping very well in Brussels. How tight are they going to run that clock? Because that's the only thing I think that might work against them in a minute. They're going and jumping so very, very well. But, oh no, the last has gone. We saw it happen earlier, didn't we, with the first to go, Theodore Boris. In fact, they've repeated the score by picking up a couple of time penalties or 3 time penalties on top of the 4 for jumping. It is one of those combinations that it can jump the fences so well. But he's always just maybe that little bit steadier in some places. Well, Benoit Serin is the next to go. Dynamite Dumiral. This mare by Nabab Darev. Hasn't done a huge number of international shows since the springtime, but they brilliant form back in the spring. These two winning several classes in Bourg-en-Bresse, Macon-Chentier, down in Saint-Tropez. They were on a real run. Oh dear, just couldn't quite get there. Ooh, and then suddenly coming to a complete stop. I wonder if the way they jumped that fence a little earlier on just put them off balance and out of stride a little bit when they came round to the wall. Dynamite just putting the brakes on for a moment. Well, in fact, makes for a difficult evening. It's a shame. As I say, they had such a brilliant start back to the year. But it's a big night, and it's certainly a step up. So 2 clear rounds, 1 from France. Giassada gave us the opening clear. Edouard Schmidt gave us the second clear. Dexter de Glen and Cuno, the 2 horses through to the jump off as next to go with Jose Maria La Rocca and Finiente. Very popular rider, the Argentinian, with this long-standing partner of his. It's gelding by Galliard de la Pomme. It was one of those fences that was always like to catch somebody at some point, and it is that little bit narrower than all the others. It's a lovely stride over the final fence. Time is good. 8 is the score for Jose Maria. And his, as I say, long-standing partner. It's been a tremendous journey for those two, of course, that took them all the way through to those Olympic Games last year. Last year being quite a year as well, because they had that big Grand Prix win in Brussels. Arena team scampering away, because next to go it's back to France with Romain Defeu riding Shana Z, this 9-year-old mare by Carrera VDL. Been some pretty good strong rounds at different shows over the course of the summer months. Top 6 in the Grand Prix in Megève, jumped very well in Saint-Lô. Jumped a huge number of 160s, and unfortunately he's had that second fence down. Oh dear. Oh, stay. No. Oh, please. Oh, no, it's not going to work. Oh dear. Well, I'm glad that he's going to be, well, I hope he's going to be okay. He's on his knees rather than on his feet, but he came pretty close to staying in an upright position. What a shame. Once your balance goes, your balance goes. As you all know, once that's happened, it's sort of out of your hands, really. But most importantly, they walk away. Both horse and rider are absolutely fine. And there's still a couple of days to go. You can see the disappointment. It's never what any of us want, never what they want. Well, we look to Portugal for the next. Just a little bit of rebuilding work going on out there in the arena, but we have Mario Wilson Fernandez next up, part of Portugal's team with this horse at the European Championships earlier this year. He was on the winning team for Portugal in Lyon, the Early Nations Cup on the Longines EF series back in, what was that, April, but it had a really strong run then and became part of that team. And the horse then just had that little bit of time off though after the Europeans. Of course, making the trip as well recently to Oslo. Jumping such a capable round. It's a shame again they've had that early fence down. There really is no time in that combination. You're watching them come down that long side. My utmost respect. But the final fence going down, and again it's just showing the ability that is needed to get over that final parallel. So that was Mario Wilson Fernandez finishing on a total of 8. There was a couple of riders for Ireland. The first of which is Thomas Ryan. Connoisseur. Had quite a few ranking wins together over the course of the summer, jumping in the 3-star shows in Belgium, and then made the trip out to Oslo. Perhaps only been maybe the second time they've been in a 160 though. So it's just asking a few more questions again tonight. Ooh, and the plank has gone. Getting tougher and tougher down that final line, unfortunately. Therefore, the score rises as high as 16 from the end of it all for Thomas. That was Connoisseur, PWR, and that was the first of the fences on that course going down. So Thomas Ryan, one of 2 for Ireland. Still Bertram Allen to come a little bit later on in the draw. Next is Sweden. Vilma Helmström, of course, has played her big part in Swedish teams again this year, including the European Championships. Tonight she's got the 10-year-old mare that's called 11 by Colter Z. It was actually indoors last year, but in some nice rounds over the course of the sort of World Cup season. I remember watching them a few times. Some have seen them on a Nations Cup in the 3-star in Mannheim, and also more recently jumping quite well down in Saint-Tropez. She came round the corner and got really wide, and then I think having to make the correction just meant she wasn't in any way on the stride that she wanted to be. Immediately just looking down straight away to check her horse. She doesn't want to go any further if she thinks there's a problem, but she'll use that circle again just to ensure that she knows that 11 is feeling correct. And jumping well. Now she can decide what she does, and that's enough. There's no need to go down the combination. So it's just a confidence fence following that problem. And look at that big pat. And 11, that lovely looking grey mare, just still looking nice and relaxed as she walks away. Well, there's what a lineup for the next two. I've just It's when you look at a list and you realise who the next two to go are. We'll get to them because we're just saying goodbye to one and hello to another. It's hard to think he's as low as 28 on those world rankings at the moment, Martin Fuchs. Of course, this is Connor J. I mean, he's won the World Cup class here. He won it 3 years in a row. There's very little that Martin hasn't achieved in this sport. And Connor. There's the horse that took him to the win in Bordeaux this year in the World Cup leg, and most recently actually he had a win in Vienna. Just having to keep that control though, even Martin just having to help Connor find the right spaces. Oh dear, just flattened into the last. It's got the power over the final part of that line, but the last part of the combination never really got the height, unfortunately. And that's a shame, and that's a surprise as well, because the way Martin was going, it looked good. And, you know, you can't help but look down a list when you see a start list and you see Martin Fuchs, Connor J. Think, well, that could be a clear. You have to really check up coming down to the water tray, a little bit like we saw with Gian Sandra. But I said a moment ago, I was like, oh, look at the next two, because here is Gregory Waterley. He's also won the World Cup class. He won it 2 years ago on Bon James Bon de la Haye right here in Lyon. But tonight he's got Double Joe de Honvolt, who really stood up just recently, and it's one of those horses of Gregory's, and Gregory's such an amazing rider who's such a great competitor. And I always sometimes think this horse hasn't won the classes that it could have done, but Barcelona put that to bed. He was in quite sensational form. He won the Queen's Cup with Double Joe, and then he's followed it up just the other day with another big win in Liège in the 150 there. So this was another that, you know, Gregory will know was in good form, but doesn't mean that you don't knock fences down. And again, just the one down. And a fence I don't think we'd seen fall until down that fifth fence on the course. But that front rail goes H-strided line on the curve that comes from that skinny fence. We'll get maybe another look in a different part of the course. But two big combinations, perhaps, that you could have maybe seen at least one of the two go through. But what about these two? Olivia Peru, tremendously popular, part of the bronze medal winning team in Paris at the Olympics, of course, with this horse, GL Events de Rey de Gouly. Again has played a role within the Nations Cup setup again this year. Helped the team to second in Rome, most recently on the team as well in the Longines League of Nations final in Barcelona. In fact, that was the last time this horse jumped. 12 years of age, this mare by Kenan. Little tap on the way in, gets through the middle, gets out. One last fence to go, but we know how wide it is, and it's gone! Oh, 3 have managed to do that. This time at least inside that time allowed, but it's a score of 4. He's so popular. Olivia Peru. Gregory Bordeaux, the course designer, has given them so much to think about down that final line and asking all the questions when it comes to scope and power over that final fence. Now we move to Colombia's Rene Lopez Lizarazo, the Colombian rider who had that second place in the Bull in the Grand Prix earlier this year. He's got with him this evening Casa Lady Love, PS OLD, the German-bred mare by Casalico, 10-year-old. Seems to have had a pretty decent run of form as well, coming in to the autumn months. Spent a lot of time down in Saint-Tropez around the time of the Longines League of Nations, sort of stayed there through September and October. Well, losing all their shape and height in the wrong place at the wrong time over the water tray, and that's going to put them off jumping the wall that follows, sadly. Yeah, that's going to say they've been jumping in a lot of classes in sort of 1 meter 50, but regularly finding their way into the money up in the top 10. You can see the time penalties ticking along. Well, the time penalties have certainly pushed the score north, but actually recovered from what was quite an unfortunate sort of moment over that water tray. And they lost all their shape and height, but of course you saw the safety, there we go, big pack, saw the safety elements coming into play with the drop cups, and then really just having a second go at the wall, and then actually jumping out the rest of the round quite nicely. Excited to see these two. Bertram Allen, Ireland's second chance of the night, and certainly their big chance of the evening with the 9-year-old Conquest Derigo. He's been a big part of the Irish teams again this year. Of course, at the Europeans, maybe that wasn't their high, but he, of course, did help them to the win in Le Bull, and more recently took Great Britain into a jump-off with the second place in the Longines League of Nations final in Barcelona. I mean, he was also, we should remember as well, just prior to that on the podium in Vienna in that Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix as well. So much talent. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful once more. What a horse and rider combination those two make. Conquest Derigo and Bertram Allen. I mean, it just is something to enjoy. Brilliant stuff from Bertram, and what a combination that is to get into the jump off. 3 now through. And we're edging up to the halfway mark, and I would have maybe, when I'd watched Giasadran going clear as the third in, maybe thought we would have had more than 3 by now, but I'll take the 3 we've got, and Bertram joining Edouard Schmidt, Giasadran to give us the 3 clears. So could it be 2 for Switzerland? Barbara Schneiper next to go with her lovely mare Canis by Cascadello. This Westphalian mare, 12 years of age, helped the Swiss to the win in the final of the Longines EEF series in Avanche. It's been a good Grand Prix ride for her. She had that super result in August in Munster. Ooh. And she's used up a little bit of luck with that front rail. This is the sort of performances why they've been on those teams this year, because it's that consistency when these big classes come. They're going to run the time a little tight, but I think they're okay. They are. Oh, we wait. We find 2 in a row, and the smiles on the kiss and cry. It's 2 for the Swiss. It's 4 in all, and Barbara Schneiper and Canis following Bertram Allen to give us back-to-back clears. 4. She had that one little moment over fence number 7, the CWD, where she just gave the front rail a bit of a nudge and had to have a little bit of luck, I'm sure, to make sure it didn't go anywhere, but you make your own luck. Barbara Schneiper through to the jump off. Next to go, Belgium. Jordi van Masselhoff. Veriamo Z. The 13-year-old now gelding by Verditien out of an Andiamo mare. In Oslo for the opening leg of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup season. Had the top 6 finish in the Grand Prix at the Royal Windsor Horse Show earlier this year, but sadly he's had fence 4 down to bring 4 up on that scoreboard. Ooh, and again a late fence, but it's in the middle of the combination. So 3 in all have fallen, and Jordi van Masselhoff and Vendiamo Z then finishing on a total of 12. And as I said, we're edging up towards the halfway mark of this Longines Grand Prix. And we've seen in the first half 3 of the 4 gold medal winners from Rio. Now to complete the set, it's the 4th. Of course, he's a European champion on top of that in 2009, Kevin Stout. Here with this 9-year-old Vida Loca Z, the mare by Vigoro Sui. Very, very capable mare. The results were sort of there, I think, sort of in the sort of spring going into summer. That win in Carbourg in the Grand Prix more recently. She did have a top 6 finish in Oslo, although didn't quite go to plan in the World Cup. Hasn't quite gone to plan tonight in this Grand Prix. I wonder how quick this time's going to be, because Kevin is the absolute master, if he does have a fence down, of somehow putting together a fast four, and he's done it again. He's just got this uncanny knack. Of course, we all would much rather see him clear, but he is, without doubt, in my mind, the one rider that you always can guarantee, if he's had a fence down, he'll still end up with a fast four. Whether it is just an instantaneous reaction, it's, I guess, a little bit of an advantage, depending where you have the fence down. But either way, it doesn't mean he's in the jump off. It just means he's best of the rest for now, because there are 4 clear rounds as we hit the halfway mark. 25 have jumped, 24 still to go, but there are, as it stands, just 4 clears. Sadra and Dexter de Glen, Edward Schmidt and Kuno, Bertram Allen and Conquest de Rigo, Barbara Schneiper and Canis. We take a short pause, not long, 5 minutes. We'll be back with the second half of the opening round of the qualifier here tonight for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup in Lyon on Sunday. This is the Longines Grand Prix. Back in a moment.
Moins de 2 minutes, chers amis. Moins de 2 minutes. Allez, à vos places.
Well, welcome back to Lyon. Welcome to Grand Prix night on a Friday. Welcome to FEI TV. Great to have you with us. My name is Gareth Jenkins, and it's an honour to be sat here able to enjoy this sport. And what a night we're having as well. 4 clears so far. Gian Sadra, Edward Schmidt, Bertram Allen, Barbara Schneiper. But it's a tricky little course, and it's caught some of the best out. When you think of the likes of Kevin Stout, Gregory Waterley, Martin Fuchs, Hodgie Bost. That's just reading down from 5th to 8th, and they're all on a score of 4. And sadly, we're not going to see them in the jump-off tonight. But there are still 24 more to go. And there's some big names and some great horses yet to be seen. It's far from decided. I'm sure we're going to see a good number more clears. Just to remind you as well, time allowed, which I think we can say has become relevant to a point. It is 72 seconds. And next to go is the second chance for Argentina, because it's the turn of Matthias La Rocca. Of course, his father, Jose. Argentinian jumping great. Now these two. This is Patron van Drehova, the 10-year-old gelding by Thunder van Soethoven. He had a very strong round in Liège. Got up into the top 6. It was a great way to set himself up to come here with this horse. More than able. Great on the Argentinian team in Falsterbo this year, as well as jumping well in that Grand Prix. Oh dear. Middle of the combination, back rail, I think that was, if I saw it right, and a time penalty to add. It is such a difficult final line. Once you start, you're committed and away you go, and you've got to be absolutely inch perfect and have so much power when you get to the last part. Well, they had that. But we get a different fence. I wonder if we're going to get another look down that combination line. There's that moment. It's just very tiny movements, creating fences falling down. Now, Alexander Reich, the Austrian rider, with Aurélie R, this European Championship ride from Coruña. Actually, went out to Spruce Meadows as part of the Nations Cup team for Austria. They've had some time off since the beginning of September with this horse, but great to see them back for this stage of the season. I remember seeing these two finish in the top 5 in the Grand Prix, that Longines Grand Prix in Switzerland, but it isn't to be tonight, because they also find their way to picking up a pole down. Oh dear. I mean, what a horse. Aurélie R, that gelding really digging deep to power them both as out of trouble as they possibly could. But they can't do anything about the total of 12 that finishes that round off. But you can see in the combination at the end there, Having to work things out a little bit now. Back with France. That one clear coming from France's Yasada. Now the turn of Nicolas Liec riding Fille de Carienne, the 10-year-old mare by Vigourousui. Had a very good run of results with this horse. Twice he finished second in 2 Grand Prix back-to-back down in Saint-Tropez in a 4-star and a 3-star. And that was just in September and October. A very good run over the course of the summer, and again has played a role in some of the EEF teams with this horse. Had that top 4 in the 3-star Grand Prix in Dinard as well. It is the sort of combination that could rise to the challenge this evening. Oh dear. Yeah, this course really is sharing out the problems. He's good on the clock, second fastest on 4 as well, but it's a fence. I don't think, I mean, I'm happy to stand and be corrected, but I'm pretty sure we haven't seen that fence go down yet this evening. The water tray out fence 11, but down it goes, and it's another to finish on a score of 4. Just an ever-growing list. It's just having a look. 5th down to, what are we, 17th. So 12, 13 combinations have gone round for 1 down. Some of those have a time penalty on top or 2, but ultimately 1 fence falling. Right now, Annelies Wolsemans and the lovely Trezuguet, the 12-year-old by Tourmaline. Miss Gelding up next. It's again been an important part of some Belgian teams this year. Not Belgium have got such a sort of strength in depth. They, of course, helped the team to the win in Sopot. Well, they're in the Grand Prix, actually. They were also on the team in Great Britain that finished on the podium, and in the London League of Nations in Saint-Tropez. They had a very good Riesenbeck as well on the global tour. So again, you know that, I mean, these two have got all the ingredients, but is it their night? And it's not. And it is 1 down, and that list grows by 1 more. This time, Annelies Wolsemans adds to it with Trezuguet. Still smiling, but you can see it's a frustrating moment. You've done all that hard work, and together you've worked out so many things, but then 1 goes down. Well, this bird, I'm sure, will be feeling quite good about himself after the round he put in earlier. We had a big ranking class, 1m 50 class, a little earlier on. And is it Candy Luck, if I'm saying the name right? It was 3rd last to go. He ended up on top of the leaderboard at the end of it all. Willengrove winner on a Friday afternoon. Any chance of a double? We'll wait to find out, because this 10-year-old mare by Vigourousui is Pretty Woman Van Paradis, N.O.P. The horse, of course, he rode at the Europeans this year, then went to Dublin straight afterwards and had that 2nd place in the Dublin Stakes. More recently in Yvolden, was jumping very well. Well, she had that time off after Aachen in 2024. She didn't come back until February of this year in terms of competition. So she missed all of last indoor season. She just sort of really returned in Den Bosch. It's great to see her going so well today. Now, how does this line work out? Surely the time is good. The time is very good. The round is very good. It all comes together for the Dutch, and he's got the chance to do the double on a Friday, because Willem Greve has just delivered clear round number 5. And we talk about looking as cool as anything. What a beautiful mare. Really enjoying what she's doing. And Willem putting together all the right strides. Well, from the world number 41 to the world number 37. Roll this man out of your peril. It is Christian Ullmann next to go. Germany's next chance, sitting with this 9-year-old, untouched LB, the 9-year-old stallion by United Touch S. Of course, that was the horse, the famous stallion that we know, of course, of Richard Vogel, that won the Europeans. But I bring it up because, of course, won the qualifier, the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier here in Lyon 12 months ago. But at 9, we've seen some quite brilliant 9-year-olds already this evening. What is Christian? Just seemed to lose the rhythm. The horse sort of backed off him a little bit coming into the double. That's a shame. And these two finished in the top 3 in the size of the world class recently in the big event, the breeding championships in Zangerscheid. Very much just using this round now to give this horse a really good experience. Christian not wanting to waste anything. Oh dear. It is quite long, isn't it? The way that second part of the combination's been riding all evening. Putting in a little short step. But either way, Christian finishing on a total of 14. Sadly not getting a chance for Germany at the moment. There is another to come to go through to that jump off against the clock. Well, there are 2 Brits in the field this evening, the first of which is set to go next. Of course, part of the gold medal winning team from Paris last summer, Harry Charles, the 26-year-old, who recently, with Sherlock, helped Great Britain to the win in the Longines League of Nations final in Barcelona. It's the last time we saw these two. This combination that together we know can win these sorts of classes. They won London's Globals last year. They were recently in the top 3 in the Grand Prix in Brussels, second in the Global Tour in Monaco. Again, the ingredients are there. Is it their night? This now 12-year-old by Bisquet Balusi for Harry Charles. Oh, what's happened here? Very unusual. Harry was having a little look up. I'm not sure what he was looking at, and I'm not sure what put Sherlock off. But again, you can see Sherlock just doesn't seem like he wants to turn down towards the fence. Harry keeps looking up, and I'm not sure why. But obviously there's just something that's put Sherlock off. Now Harry's just going to take a little bit of time. He's going to make sure Sherlock's settled. He's got the weekend still to think about, and tonight won't be relevant. What he'll want is Sherlock to feel comfortable. And you can see just trying to be really gentle on the rein. It's just something there. Of course, you've got the big display in the middle, but it wouldn't be the first time Sherlock's been under something like that. It will have been a little bit of time since Sherlock will have jumped indoors. Is I guess the only thing you can perhaps maybe think in any logical terms towards it, but I'm speculating, and that's never good. But either way, I hope that what was starting off to be such a promising round works out better over the coming days for Harry Charles. Now, we move our attention to Liechtenstein's Jennifer Husdatter, who was also right up there earlier on. The young lady who is just 22, but is now feeling very at home at the top end of the sport on this lovely ride of the Tovex. Winnie 2 de la Ramat Z is becoming a better and stronger partner over the last 12 months of these two being together. Just tippled the plank away, and it's a shame. I mean, as we know with horses and riders as well, they build up, they jump these bigger classes, and then they'll always just let the horses drop down a level or two just to give them a slightly easier round. It gives everyone a little bit of a confidence boost, allows things to be reset, and they nearly took the Lego down with them at the Longines Wall. But I was going to say, they did that the other week in Centaur. They dropped down into the 2-star, and they're in dominant form, winning both the qualifier and the Grand Prix. And again, that you would expect was part of that sort of opportunity to get ready to come indoors, because it is such a change, and the horses, they are used to jumping indoors and outdoors, and it's never a bad thing to give yourself an indoor event at a slightly lower level before coming to a big event like Lyon. Jumped out the rest of the course without any trouble. It was all that's caused the bother. Time, yes, adding in rather quickly, and of course that always gives you a slightly unrepresentative score come the end of the round. But bad luck there. She recovered it well, gave the horse the confidence that Winnie 2 needed to continue. And Jennifer Husdatter there will look forward now to tomorrow. So as you can see, all those many bricks go into building a wall. And of course, as big and as solid as they are and as they look, all those bricks, of course, then are designed just to fall apart, but also they're made of really light wood. It's only the fact they're pushed together that, of course, allows them all to stand so solidly, because very light material. Well, now the turn of Marc Diliasseur, another from the world's top 100, of course, knocking on the door of the world's top 70, really. He's got Guillaume de Terre, another 9-year-old in the field this evening, the gelding by Konrad Oblensky. France still just with the one clear out of the 5 that have jumped this course so far. This partnership won the Grand Prix, the 3-star Grand Prix in Saint-Lô back in August. They have jumped indoors already this season because they were in Oslo. Getting awfully close, aren't they? But you just know, and certainly until they got over that final fence, the GL events poles, which have gone again to create an 8 penalty score. That final line really allows them to keep thinking through to the finish. And well, next to go, it's the turn of the European champion of the world, number 5, Richard Vogel, here with Gangster Mondesier. This is still quite a new ride to Richard. I didn't see these two until Barcelona, of course, alongside the League of Nations final, but I mean, the rest will know if they saw that. If he gets in the jump off, they'll have something to be worried about, because this is a partnership that have got so much pace, despite the fact they've barely ridden any shows together. But what can they do here this evening? Shortened up beautifully, didn't he? Again, tonight is a step up for these two. Oh, what a horse Richard's got to back up what is already such a brilliant team. And that, I'm excited now for the jump off, because the pace that those two had. I mean, one of the classes in Barcelona, we won by 10 seconds. Now, that isn't necessarily realistic to what can normally happen. But, well, yeah, let's just wait till we get there. It's only half a job complete. You've got to leave them up. You've got to go again. But we've got Germany through with Richard Vogel and Gangster Mondesier joining Villengreve, Barbara Schneiper, Bertram Allen, Edward Schmidt and Gia Savin. It's certainly bringing everything that we could have asked for together, and we've still got 14 more to jump in the opening round, and now it's the Danish combination of Sonne Mollerøde with Grace Ask by Darko Deravel out of a contender mare. Again, was the horse he rode at the Europeans back in the summer. Also helped the Danish team as well, if I recall, to that win in Marathof in the Nations Cup as well in the EEF series. But tonight just looked like they just went a little bit over to the right hand side, but catching that side of the pole. Just that moment, like we could have said with so many here this evening. It's this sport and how it works is why we love it. So that you get those moments where the clears come, and you get those moments that just are so frustrating because you do so little wrong. And you do so much right, but again, you end up on a score of 4. And that's the story for Sonne Mollerøde and Grace. Well, now to the highest ranked rider in the class, the world number 2. 3-time Olympic gold medalist, including twice on the team and once as an individual, and of course more recently helping Britain to team silver at the Europeans and the win. in the Longines League of Nations. It is, therefore, Ben Mayer. And this was his ride in Barcelona, in Jude the 11-year-old by Toulon. Also helped the British team to the win in Spruce Meadows on the Nations Cup team there. Read that so well, just sitting and waiting, making sure he had the space. Gets over the middle part, gets over the last part. Now he needs to power over the final part, and then Great Britain can have a clear, and the world number 2 books a place, and look what it means to the team. Ben Mayer in Jude de Sienne is clear in this Longines Grand Prix this evening. I don't think you've got to go back too many years. About 4 years ago, I think Scott won this class, the last British winner in the Grand Prix. Well, Ben Mayer's got a chance this evening, and talk about just adding spice to what was already a brilliant jump off. And that's the passion, you know. As I say, the grooms do so much, so they work immensely hard, and they know these horses inside and out. They know everything. They know how they're feeling, and of course, the riders work closely with them as well. But once you go in the ring, it's over to the rider, and the groom just has to watch. And you can see how good it feels. Right, Johann Sebastian Gulliksen, he's been in some pretty good form. Of course, recently third, if I recall correctly, in the World Cup qualifier, the Longines World Cup qualifier in Oslo. Now, he's got Cornello, this 11-year-old. Oh dear, second fence down, 11-year-old gelding by Calestus. That's interesting, because it's a similar sort of moment to what Harry Charles had, although I'm sure Harry's was less deliberate. It's a tricky little line. He's going to jump a fence and retire, isn't he? I mean, he has had a fence down, which is different to what the position Harry was in. So, Cornello and Johann Sebastian Gulliksen decide to stop at that point. Sadly, we lose them. We're not done yet, though. What have we got? 11 more left. Currently sitting on the 7 clear rounds. Dia Sandra for France. Edouard Schmitz, 1 or 2 for Switzerland. Bertram Allen for Ireland. The second of the Swiss riders is Barbara Scheiper. Willem Greve for the Netherlands. Richard Vogel for Germany, and then Ben Mayer at the moment in that final slot. But next to go, Sweden's second try, Petronella Andersson, riding with Opien, DW and S, based though in Belgium, part of the Stefex stables. Back from jumping on the global tour in Rabat. This was part of the Swedish team as well this year. Oh, what a round that turned into. There's going to be a very happy team behind up Lyon, the WNS, Petronella Anderson. Quality round of jumping, one of the best from them. It's a partnership that we know, again, it's one of those that you know they've got all the ingredients. They perhaps just haven't had that sort of rub of the green, that bit of luck in recent rounds. But today, Petronella just making sure everything worked perfectly. Now, Spain have one chance. It is with Mariano Martinez Bastida, and that one chance goes at fence number 1. So it's going to be a long journey round the rest of the course, unfortunately, with Poseidon van der Moldendrief, the 10-year-old standing by comme il faut. You can see they're keeping going. I mean, it's good experience for this horse as well, because actually it's a horse that only started jumping internationally earlier this year, and Mariano took over the ride in August. It would be the first opportunity to be jumping in an indoor event at this level. Certainly not their first Grand Prix. It's a horse that sort of stepped up quite quickly at the international level, but still with plenty to learn. Well, crosses the finish line on a total of 11 because of the time penalties that are added on to the round. Mariano Martinez Bastida then for Spain. Still now 9 to go, 3 of which ride for, in fact 4 of which ride for France, 2 for Germany, 1 for the Netherlands, 1 for Switzerland and 1 for Israel. Let's have a little look at this partnership for France. Anthony Ehrman, the 24-year-old. He alongside Gian Sandra, and of course the French clear round so far. Also Nina Malave, the one French star that's not actually here this week, were the 3 young jockeys that dominated the Nations Cup in Brussels back at the end of August. This lovely ride, Floyd de Prey. Now 10 by Viger Sassi. Also was part of France's team in that Longines League of Nations final. They had that top 5 finish. They were in the jump-off in the Grand Prix of the city of Barcelona. I'm sure France would love to see, this crowd would love to see another clear. Ooh. Certainly gave that a tap of the toe, but again the wall does not move. And now we come into the final line. Are we getting there? One more to go. Could it be the second for France? Oh, it can. The young stars of French show jumping performing at the top level of this sport, and they're doing it at home. In the Longines Grand Prix in Lyon, France get their second clear round. We get number 9. Anthony Ehrman joining Gian Sandra at the moment. France top and tail. That jump off against the clock. But can we get into double figures? I'm not going to complain if we do. Next up, Israel's Robin Mier and his lovely championship ride, Galaxy HM. Robin put in quite a cracking round earlier on his other horse. His early jaws in that one round Fulton time, riding with so much confidence. So this guy, I say, by quality time, Galaxy HM. This was his Olympic ride, his European ride this year. Not to be. to be. So we stick on 9. Early fence goes down and 4 it is for Robin Muir. Not to be one of the fastest either. It's just going to be the likes of Kevin Stout that are going to hold on, I think, for a fast 4. But Robin in Galaxy, again, one of those partnerships that it can go clear on any day, but today wasn't that day. Now, just having a little look at the next 3 to go. You've got these 2 have won this Grand Prix twice. The next one after this for Germany is another 5-star Grand Prix winner already this year. And the one after that's the combination that won the first of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cups on this year's Western European League. That's just the next 3. We're not done in terms of clears, I'm convinced. Julien Epilard and the great Donatella Dosch. Now that would be some battle to get this partnership into a jump-off. And I'm not being disrespectful to any other rider in the jump-off at the moment, but having watched Gangster, I'd love to see Gangster versus Donatello with a little bit of Energy de Grecienne in there, and of course with Bertram as well. We are in for something special when it comes to that round against the clock. Make sure you go nowhere. Ooh, again, it's amazing how they often tap a little toe, and he ended up too far away. Just couldn't get to the back rail. So we wait and see Donatella Dosch in the mix. So I'm sure the relief of 1 or 2. But not to the relief of this crowd, because they love him, and so they should. He's been such a part of this amazing show. He knows how to win this Grand Prix, but tonight's not their turn. They'll be able to have another go. Six more to jump. Now, what a horse this is. Gerrit Nieberg in the saddle of Ping Pong van de Lentamel. The quite beautiful. I mean, and I'm a massive fan of coloured horses. And this, to me, this lovely skewbald by the great Emerald out of a Toulon mare. Won, of course, on the global tour. Took that 5-star Grand Prix win with this 10-year-old back in September in Riesenbeck. Again, little tap of the toe. Look at that for power in the middle. Absolute scope. Get out over the final part, and Ping Pong is through as well. Gerrit Nieberg. It is so good to see him with such a super horse once again, of course, former winner of the likes of Arkin, that wonderful horse called, was it Ben, wasn't it? And now got this amazing star in the form of Ping Pong. Well, he won a 5-star Grand Prix last month. He's got the chance to win another one this month because we're still in October, at least until the morning. What a day it was 2 weeks ago for Sandy Tyson. It's Cupcake. I love the names of some of the horses nowadays. Cupcake Z. This mare by Chaco Blue is the winning combination with Sané of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup leg in Oslo 2 weeks ago. Sané, such a tremendous rider for the Netherlands. We saw Conquidam a little earlier on today, still going strong. In fact, going so strong he was racing around this arena. Ooh, now, that was more than a tap of the toe. That was a chip of the brick, and it's come down. Not their night. Had some brilliant results over the course of this year and had some lovely wins. Nothing quite as big as what came in Oslo, and that was a really important moment for the two of them. And it's been a horse that she's produced over the past few years, and that was a win that was so well deserved. But unfortunately, you know, so 3 big names in a row, but that's been the story of the night. How many big combinations haven't gone through? We'll take the ones that have. At the moment, we sit on 10 clear rounds with 4 more to go in the opening round. And now, one of 2 left in this final 4 for France. Charlotte Lyon, riding Cyclone Le Prévient. "13-year-old gelding by Leaks. Disappointingly, it's again that double, first part of the double that goes down. Going home on the 4. Pushed on a little bit to the last, and that goes as well. So a time penalty added on. 72.66 on the clock, and it's a total of 9 in the end for Cyclone Le Prévient and Charlotte Lyon. And now we're down to the final 3. 3 to go, and then that jump off against the clock. And I can promise you, it is going to be spectacular. You cannot put a lineup together like that has manifested its way here this evening. And still not saying we're done. There's 3 to go, and I can see maybe yet we'll get one more, maybe more, who knows. But I'll take what we've got because it has everything that you could want, certainly on paper, when you look at it. Now, Olivier Robert. Final chance for France tonight, of course. The 2 clears coming from Diaz Adran and Anthony Herman. But can Olivier make it 3. Ganesh de Riverland, the 9-year-old mare by Vagabond de la Pomme. Was on that Nations Cup team for France literally was that last week? We were in Vera de Frontera at the 3-Star Nations Cup. I think it was last week we were there. Jumped well down there. Also in Barcelona, of course, they were out in Spruce. It's only the 4th time though at 160 for these two. It's been where they built up to over the past few months. Not to be. The final part of the combination. The final line that's been this evening. Olivier Robert, Ganesh de Riverland on a total of 8. Safe on the clock, just gets inside. So France know they will definitely stick on 2 out of the 10 clears so far, with now 1 from Switzerland and 1 from Germany left to go. Of course, there's already 2 Swiss clears. Eduard Schmitz and Barbara Schneiper. No reason to think you can't get 3 when you have a horse like Mila next to go, and a rider like Nadia Peter Steiner is next up. First of the final 2 to go. This mare by Montebellini. And of course, with Owen McMahon, when part of the Beerbum Stables took the silver medal on the European team. It was her European ride for Nadia this year. Put in some really brilliant performances throughout the course of the year, both jumping in the 5 stars in the Globals and then in some of the big Nations Cups. She was in the jump-off in the Longines Grand Prix of Switzerland. Ooh, last part goes down. As a mare, she just loves to jump fences, but unfortunately she just clipped that final part of the combination. Whichever part of that line's gone down, there's a very long list of riders that will have been affected by it, but either way, sadly, no Mila, no Nadia Peter Steiner. It is going to be those 2 clears that we know about for Switzerland definitely through. One at the moment still to go, which could in fact make it 3 for Germany, but it'll all come down to Stefan Enbaraz and Baju NRW, the last up in the opening round of this Grand Prix, before we turn our attention to the jump-off. I'm bobbling away here, so excited for this jump-off. Right. And these 2 did go and jump indoors recently. They went to Bielefeld and won the Grand Prix in the 2-star there the other day. I think using that after quite a busy run outdoors. Of course, they were on Germany's winning team, these 2 together, in the Nations Cup at Hickstead back in the summer. This 12-year-old gelding by Bali de Rouet. Are we about to get one more? Oh no! Again, the final fence has had something to say about a clear round here this evening, and unfortunately from Stefan Edberez and Baju NRW, it has said no. And it is a score of 4 for the last out in the opening round of this Longines Grand Prix. Over 100,000 euros in the prize fund tonight. But the jump-off order is set. 2 in there from Germany, 2 in there from France, 2 in there from Switzerland and Ireland and Netherlands and Great Britain and Sweden. This is something special. Just out around the young French star, Dexter Glenn, her top horse. Edouard Schmidt and Kuno, second to go. First of the 2 for the Swiss. Bertram Allen on his beautiful 9-year-old. I mean, that's a thrilling, exciting early draw. Conquest Irigo. Barbara Schneiper is never slow. Willem Grever has already won a class here today. Can he do it again with Pretty Woman? Gangster, I'm thrilled that Gangster's through. That is some ride of Richard Vogel's, but it's only about their 3rd show together. The world number 2, Ben Mayer, 3-time Olympic champion. He's in there too. Petronella Anderson, that was a beautiful round from her and Oppeline to deliver the clear. Anthony Ehrman, another of the rising stars of the French sport on the beautiful gelding Floyd. And then last to go, that amazing skewballed gelding Ping Pong and Germany's Gerrit Nieberg, looking for their second 5-star Grand Prix win in the space of 2 months. That is what it is all about. It is live with you here on FEI TV. Go nowhere, or certainly don't go far, because we're not going to be too long. The team are out there getting things set. We'll take a little break, and then we'll be underway. This is going to be something to enjoy. It's a fabulous Friday in Lyon. Go nowhere. We're coming back in a minute.
Très heureux de partager avec vous justement cette soirée qui pour l'instant dans la pénombre, histoire de mettre en place évidemment les obstacles qui vont constituer cette finale du Grand Prix Longines. Première partie de cette soirée, partie sport, avec non pas 10 mais 9 qui prendront part à cette finale. Edouard Schmidt a décidé de conserver Kuno, bien sûr, pour d'autres échéances. Déclic l'invitation de défendre la Suisse. Ils ne sont donc plus que 9 Allison à courir le barrage.
That's right, 9 combinations competing. 10 obviously were qualified, but Edward Schmidt has decided not to compete with Kuno for Switzerland, leaving us with 9 more to come.
Bon, ben je vous invite à vous projeter aussi en 3 dimensions. Regardez sur l'écran géant en même temps de regarder sur la piste ce qui va se passer en ce qui concerne le barrage. Il va débuter sur l'Auxerre numéro 10. Regardez le Horseware avec les blondes en sous-bassement de cet Auxerre numéro 10. Premier soin.
Well, the course is getting set. Gregory Bordeaux's shortened course in this jump-off. Actually, it's quite an exciting track. There's some really fascinating runs and turns in this one. Let's have a little look. Down we go onto the arena floor here in Lyon. Starting over what was fence number 10 down that line to fence 11, and then round the corner back to now what is a double. It's the upright to the parallel, but the risk of course with the back rail is because you're going to want to try and turn as tight as you can coming off there. because it's a rollback turn, and look at this, you've got to come past it to ride back to it, reverse over that. Its new number is 15, the FEI fence. Then left-handed, another new number, it's 1 in reverse to the parallel at fence 16. A long old gallop from one end of the arena to the other, first part of what was that double, and again he's given them a second rollback. But this one, you are absolutely turning on a corkscrew before you then turn to the right. The balance, the control, you're going to need it all down to what was fence 5, now with the Longines material in to finish off this jump-off round. I think those some really key turns, but you've got the runs as well. Who's going to come out on top of this one? So what I can tell you is Edward Schmitz will not be coming forward in the jump-off. There will in fact be 9. Gia Sadran though will start it off on Dexter Kugler, her top right. Then it's that 9-year-old Conquesterigo, Bertram Allen, do not rule him out, putting one over on all of them from an early draw. Barbara Schneiper, Kenise Willengreva and Pretty Woman. Could he do it again today? How fast is Gangster now at a Grand Prix? It's their first chance. Richard proved how quick they were in Barcelona, but he's got to do it at a higher level today. Ben Mayer and Engie de Grecien trying to win this Grand Prix title for the first time in his career, the world number 2. Petronella Anderson, really nice to see her in, and Anthony Ehrman, another great performance on Floyd Depre. Wait to see, he's got that late draw for France. But the last to go, Gerrit Nieberg and Ping Pong van der Lichtermel. That beautiful skew ball you will never miss. It's so good to see a skew ball jumping at the top of the sport. And of course, we know already a winner in the Global Grand Prix in the 5-star Riesenbeck just the other week, or last month. We're still in October, at least till at midnight tonight, so he's looking for 2 Grand Prix wins in the space of 2 months. There's lots of permutations, but ultimately we're just going to wait, watch and see, because that's what this first round gave us. I mean, you look back and think back to the first round, the numbers of riders and horses that haven't quite come through. Kevin Stout did end up with the fastest 4. So he'll have picked up a few euros or more. He always seems to be able to do that. Nicholas Leak will be the other. But the likes of Gregory Waterley, sadly, finishing on 4, Nadia, Peter Steiner, Julian Epilard, Martin Fuchs, Roger Boss. It's a very long list of big names that didn't get through, but of course, many of them have already, I mean, there is different ways of qualifying for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup leg 2 of the Western European League, which takes place on Sunday, and many of those big names, by virtue of rankings and performance, will have already got a place in Sunday's class. Others will be trying to find their way through here today. And there, over on the far side of the warm-up arena, is the first to go in the jump-off. Talk about a tough draw, but she does know how to win these sorts of classes now. She's, of course, won the Global Grand Prix in Paris last year. She won Saint-Romain, the big Saturday night class in Paris back in March of this year. Gian Sandra and Dexter Kugler looking nice and calm, nice and relaxed, just taking it very easy, aren't they? You can see there's a lot more here than just a horse show, with all what's going on in the background, all the stands and different things to see and look at. You also saw Ping Pong, who's going to be at the other end of the draw, just still walking round out the back there. It will be very specific as to when they turn their attention to actually going into that warm-up procedure. Also Ben Mayer just about to come past us in front of us there. He, of course, with Engie de Grecien, the world number 2 highest ranked rider. 2 of the world's top 5 in this jump-off here this evening. Says something in itself. So everyone just going through a different routine, different techniques, different moments of when they'll ask more from their horses, when they'll then give them a minute to relax again as the course is put together in the arena and all of the crowd are prepared. It's been a full house here in Lyon. What an atmosphere. Of course, the arena team, you know, everyone just keeping themselves to themselves at the moment, although there's a lot of camaraderie that goes on between riders. I always love that in this sport, the way they will all talk about what's going on. But ultimately, the focus has to come down to them and their horse. There we get a little opportunity. Oh dear, that's not what you want before you come in. But that's what is, that's the warm-up arena. You can do that in the warm-up arena. It doesn't hold any faults or any problem. There's Gregory Bordeaux, who's created the faults and problems with his design tonight. And full marks to him and the rest of the Akita team for bringing together what has been a really good track in that first round. He asked them the right questions in the right way, gave us some brilliant jumping and kept us on the edge of our seat right the way down to that final fence to know whether they would be clear or not. Is that a countdown I can hear from the audience? Oh, well, I want to make sure. I'm sure Gianza will have already jumped a fence. It does happen out the back, you know, in the warm-up arena. That's part of what it is. You can see there she is, still cantering around. She's had Dexter now for a good number of years. So he's almost 12 years of age, that stallion. And they've been to the World Cup final together, as well as their European Championship debut this year. You can pretty much say, I think she had the ride now for probably the last 5 years or so. But it's been, I mean, she's herself still only, what, 24 years of age. So a horse that's really, as she's progressed and developed in her own talents and abilities at this top end of the sport, has been the horse that's developed with her. And a lot of work in the background. It takes a lot of hard work. Well, there we go. This is where it all begins. Great to have you with us live on FEI TV here this evening in Lyon. It is Grand Prix night on a Friday. The Longines Grand Prix. €105,500 worth of prize money. And of course, these 9 combinations coming back against the clock. Start with Dexter de Caglen and Yev Sadra, the first of the 2 challengers here tonight from France, but has the difficult job of being the first to go, knowing that some of the world's best are going to follow. That turn back to number 4 is the sort of final turn in the course. It's that complete corkscrew roll round on yourself. Wanting to pick up a nice forward rhythm as she comes to the first. Now the turn back to the double. Nicely done. Now this first real rollback coming in. She'll look to try and jump it a little bit on the angle as she can. Lands there in about 19-20 seconds. One into the other. Parallel to parallel. Lands again in 29. This is that turn back that's going to be so key. Almost overshot it. She had to give herself the space, but she's still got one more fence to go. Now that's the last, and what a way to start. Start with a clear. If you're first to go and you can go clear, the pressure falls upon them all that are to follow. And Dexter looking strong. She'll know herself there's more time in this course, but if you can leave the fences standing, and it was a really smooth round. Nothing wrong. Team following every single stride with her. Up and down and over the fences, but 42.96 sets the standard and sets it with a clear. Next up, it's going to be Ireland's challenge, because as I've mentioned at the beginning, Edouard Schmitz and Kuno deciding to withdraw from the jump-off, saving themselves for Sunday. This audience already revved up after that round from Gian. Now it's the turn of Bertram Allen and his lovely Conquest de Rigo. This is some talent of a horse. You combine a talent like this, both horse and rider, you know that you've got something special. They've shown time and again as a big part of the Irish setup in the teams this year. But they're no slouch in the individual stakes either, and Bertram, one of the best when it comes at getting the best out of his horses. He's got a 42.96 up on the clock to beat. When you look at the list early doors, you think this is the one that could go early and could still put up a time the others struggle with. But let's see what he does. Bertram Allen, Conquest de Rigo. Oh, it's gone, and he was pretty much dead level in terms of time. Shows well for Regian's performance, but of course with the fence down, he'll adjust the way he's riding slightly. Hands over the last and ends up being that little bit slower, but it is a fence that had fallen. And that's the trick. If you go first, you jump clear. You put the pressure on those that are still to come. And Bertram Allen, unfortunately, you can see the disappointment, finishes on a score of 4. And this was the moment he'd gone tight. He was trying to make up the time. So now to the challenge from Switzerland and Barbara Schneiper and a lovely horse, Canis, this mare who's now 12, but Cascadello. And she did what they've been doing all season. They've been regularly finding their way into those Nations Cup teams for the Swiss, and it's that consistency that always counts and brings you into play for the team competitions. But this is again a lady, though, that has always seemingly been quick against the clock. Oh dear, a little bit of a stumble. Horse and rider go down, but the horse is absolutely fine. The rider is absolutely fine, but it was a scary looking moment. There's no questioning about that. The air jacket going off, keeping everyone comfortable. Just losing the footing a little bit on landing, sadly. And that, not the way any of us wanted to see things finish off. But importantly, able to walk away. Horse gone straight back to the groom in the warm-up. Of course, there's a tremendous team as well. Any horse or rider will not be walking out unmounted and not being checked over the moment they get out the back there by the teams of people, whether it be vets or medics, to ensure that they are A-OK. But now, walking very leisurely towards us is the Dutch Challenge. He's looking for a double, the daily double. The Friday has already seen Villengreve a winner. He won the ranking class earlier this afternoon. Now it's time for Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman Van Paradis, NOP. Super talented mare. That time off, missed last winter's run of shows. It's come back and shown us, though, all the talent part of the Dutch team at the Europeans. Just be curious to see how he approaches. If he was planning on jumping her on Sunday, how hard he wants to push tonight. Nice turn. Ooh, just couldn't quite reach. He was already looking for the turn coming out of that double, and once you start to do that, again, you're going to make life that little bit harder and open up the risk. Yes, Adran still leading the way. That clear round is paying off. For the score, 43.70 the time. Again, Willem never really looked to be in top gear, but I think there was a little bit of saving going on as well for Sunday with that round. Either way, he was tight on the turn back into the double. He was coming out of the double that caught him out. Right, the one I keep talking about. Will they live up to the billing? Richard Vogel, of course, the European champion with United Dutcher. He won the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup leg here last year. Happy memories of Lyon, but this ride, third show together, last time out was Barcelona. That was a 145 and a 150. They won them both. How do they get on in the 160 Longines Grand Prix here in Lyon this evening? The pace that this horse showed, Gangster Mudenstier in Barcelona, was unreal. What are they able to do tonight? Now the turn back, coming to the double. Gets in. Has the power out. Now the roll round the corner. So good. Almost looked like he was going past it, but then he's back and jumping it. Already nearly 2 seconds quicker. Running across the floor. Now the turn again. How tight can he come? Oh, will he get there? Oh, he does. Now he can go to the last. Richard Vogel pushing on. He's going to go on a flyer. Oh, quite sensational. 38.78. Gangster showing to have all the moves as Richard Vogel smiles away, and he knows how good that was. He gambled, but he knew it was going to work. The confidence that he had in Gangster Mondersier. Quite brilliant. That turn back into the penultimate fence, and then the way he took off down that final line. It's like a little rocket. But now it's Great Britain's chance. Things got serious. Now it's the turn of the world, number 2. Enju de Venecien, Ben Mayer. Whatever he thought he needed to do, he knows he's going to have to be absolutely perfect if he's to overcome that round. 38.78 is the time to beat. So much pace across the floor as well. A lovely big stride. And he got a really good turn there, whereas Richard almost overshot that. Ben went tighter, and look at that. He's found 1/4 of a second. It's going to come to the turn. He's going to have to go inside here. In fact, he's gone tight to gone wide to pull back, and now he's got to run. Now he's got to go. Now he's got to beat 38.78. Is it to be Britain's night? Can Ben Mayer cross the line? Not quite. Less than a second in it, though. But the flyer that Richard got to the last was just that little bit faster than Ben could manage, but it was a fabulous try from the world number 2. But this is sport at its very best. And it's coming down to the merest of margins, but the turn back here, I'm not going to get the right replay, unfortunately, but the turn back, he had found the advantage, but he couldn't quite manage the turn that Richard did, and then that run down to the final fence. It is nip and tuck. Less than a second between 1 and 2. Richard Vogel leads. Ben Mayer second. Yes, Adrian now in third. 3 to go. Sweden, France and Germany still in the draw. And now it's Sweden. Petronella Andersson. Oklien de WNS. The Stefex Stables team. I think she'll know what's achievable with this horse. She'll be realistic. And certainly you could see her try to push for that top 3 with Gian Sandran's time of 42.96 in third. Now, where does she arrive? She comes back on the rollback. Gets up and over. Wait for the split time. It's coming round the corner. 22. Yeah. Oh, and it's gone as well, sadly. turning into the final two. 44.53 and 43.70 were the times we've had on four. That goes round in 43.84. So Petronella Anderson, Sweden, top five with 2 to go. But Richard Vogel guaranteed a top 3. Ben Mayer sitting second, Gian Sandran still holding third. That clear round paying massive dividends to the young French jockey. But there's another big chance for France now with this young star, Anthony Ederman. Big night, big moment in front of his home crowd. Got to put all that out of his head. Got to put it all to one side. Got to just focus on what they know they can do. Floyd Dupre chasing down 38.73. 2 of the world's top 5 sitting in first and second. And he'll be thinking a little bit towards Sunday as well. He's trying. Come on, the angle, very nice. Now, where does this end up on the split? He's going to be a little bit behind. He's lost a second. But again, it's aiming for what's realistic. Can he get himself into the top 3? Oh, brilliant power shot out of that. Now 38.78. Where's he going to be? Is it third? Should be. 41.48 it is. Best of the night from France goes to Anthony Ederman and Floyd Dupre. He just pips Giassava. And for the moment, at very least, goes up into the podium on third with 1 more to go. And we know tonight, look at this. Floyd really put the power in there to make sure that Anthony got over that fence. There's the leader. Has Gangster stolen this for Richard Vogel this evening? We know that Germany's anthem's going to be ringing out around this arena tonight because there is only 1 to go. The beautiful skew ball that is Ping Pong, Van de Limental and Gerrit Nieberg are the last to go. Themselves a 5-star Grand Prix winner in Valkenswaard last month. This 10-year-old with another big challenge ahead of them. This crowd are on the edge of their seats. So am I. Gerrit Nieberg's turn. Now, keep it tight. Now start the turn. This is the point of the course you can make up a little bit of time on Richard because he overshot. Now, where does he turn? He's got to go left. Where's he going to be on the split? He's going to be a little bit down again. Is there anything he can do to push himself up into the top 3 here this evening? It's going to be tough to come back and chase down Richard Vogel from here. 38.78. He gives the second to last a little tap. But Ping Pong is charging to the last, and over they go. 41.13. It is that man that has taken the top spot. Richard Vogel tonight, the first to congratulate him, Ben Mayer, who finishes in second. And that combination, Gerrit Nieberg and Ping Pong, one of the most beautiful horses in this sport, has finished in third. It is a superb night of sport here for the Longines Grand Prix. But it is Germany's night, and Richard Vogel, who left here 12 months ago on a Sunday evening, winner of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup round after his win with United Touch, starts here with the win in the qualifier, the Longines Grand Prix. The Western European League's round on Sunday, but the qualification sees Richard Vogel head to the top, the world number 5, ahead of the world number 2. Ben Mayer, a superb performance again. Enjeu de Gaussienne. It was nip and tuck. That's what we love. The 2 of the best going at it. And Gerrit Nieberg in the mix on Ping Pong. two superb rounds for France from Anthony Edelman and Diaz Sadrat to round out the double clears. But what a night. Look at all those on 4 in the opening round. Like I said, it was, you've got to give full marks to the course designer this evening. He's brought out the best of them, asked the right questions in the right way. And when you end up with this many on a one fence down score, you know that it really was just nip and tuck. And it was a real spread over which fences ended up falling in that first round. And the time as well just had a little part to play. Well, time certainly played its part when it came to the winner. Gangster stole the top spot brilliantly. And what a combination those two are. If I was already raving about them in the first round after Barcelona, now I can rave about them the next show when we get to see Richard Vogel and Gangster join forces. And didn't have to wait long, did they? It's only their 3rd show together and they've won a 5-star Grand Prix. That's quite some story. There's always stories, though, and sport. Momentum always counts and helps. Confidence always helps. Let's have a listen.
Congratulations on your victory here in Lyon in the Longines Grand Prix. The course tonight was particularly technical and demanding. What, in your opinion, made the difference?
Yeah, merci beaucoup at first. I have a very amazing horse with Gangster underneath me, so probably that really made the difference. Every horse that jumps here is of course a very good horse, but with Gangster it's only our 3rd show together, so that I think even more shows how good he is to deliver such a performance tonight.
Did you get a good feeling straight away when you entered the arena?
Yes, he's in the stable a quite calm horse, and then in the warm-up he already knows, okay, today we need to perform and we need to go to do well, you know. And then when you get into the ring, he's actually getting a bit tense, and almost a little bit nervous. So my job is to calm him down and, you know, keep him with me, keep him focused. But he stayed very focused. So I cannot thank him enough, and he jumped very, very well.
The atmosphere here is always very special. What does it mean to you to win in this arena again?
Lyon always treated us well. We drove home with the best memories last year after winning the World Cup here with United Touch. So also we came back with the best memories. As you said, the atmosphere is incredible. The people are cheering. There are a lot of horse people spectating here. So it's a fantastic show, and it's a fantastic result for our team here to win the Grand Prix tonight.
The indoor season is now truly underway. What kind of momentum does this victory give you for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, it's always nice to start into the weekend with such a win. A little bit unexpected win, as I said, only our 1st show together with Gangster. So we hoped we could put in a good performance, but to win the Grand Prix here tonight was a bit unexpected. So that makes it even nicer and gives us, good feeling for what's left to come here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like we said, only their 3rd trip together, and well, what a partnership those two now make in this sport. If he wasn't already a rider to watch with the likes of United Touch, Gangster has stepped up immediately. First 5-star Grand Prix, and said, "You can't catch me." Look at this for a turn, and got deep and jumped it, and then was willing to open up. It's a high-five situation out the back. The team over the moon, and so they should be. Presentations coming in a moment as the prize winners will line up for the Longines Grand Prix here this evening. And of course, that is quite some warm-up to the weekend of sport coming your way on FEI TV. That will include, of course, the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup, 2nd leg of the Western European League here in Lyon, and plenty more besides, with the FEI Driving World Cup kicking off, as well as the Grand Prix tomorrow for the FEI Ponies Trophy. Plenty more 5-star jumping is mixed in alongside all that. We've already seen dressage. It is a event, one of those special events that bring it all together under one roof. For the first time of the winter season, it really does feel like the indoor season is very much now up in to top gear. As Lyon already probably on the middle day. It started on Wednesday, so we are very much already Friday, big weekend of sport to come. Well, big presentation of awards to come in a moment or so here on FEI TV. out the back. Preparations underway. That Longines rug just been put into place for the winner of the Grand Prix. And plenty of people wanting to grab a word with that man. Richard Vogel, the European champion and the world number 5, has been having quite some year. But what a round it was. Gina Sandran there in the foreground. Of course, it was always going to be tough for her as the first to go. I mean, full marks. She put a clear round on the board, put them all under a bit of pressure. Anthony Herman is, in fact, there just on the right, just about to get back on. The other French rider who's ended up in 4th place here with a super performance on Floyd. Managed just to edge ahead of Jan's round. But, of course, that top 3 going the way of Gerrit Nieberg and Ping Pong, who you could always spot. We'll see in a moment. Where's Ping Pong gone? Can't see Ping Pong. Our Skewbald has gone missing. There's Ben Mayer. Just having a chat to Willem Greve, who, of course, has taken 6th place here this evening. Ended up on a score of 4, but he never really looked like he was pushing the Pretty Woman this evening, even though he had a fence down. Of course, we've seen thrills and spills this evening. There was Ping Pong walking in front of us, finishing 3rd. We'll get it, Nieberg. I think he won't be too disappointed with a 3rd place in the Grand Prix here. And again, you just wonder with some of the horses, depending which one they're going to ride on Sunday, how hard they wanted to push them here tonight. Everybody on their phones sending messages to who they need to. Bertram Allen, another rider in the placings this evening. He set off at pace. Unfortunately, they had a fence down in the middle, which meant he was not able to push any higher up the order. And now I have a feeling heading our way for the presentation will be the man of the moment. As he said, happy memories when he left here 12 months ago after the best of feelings winning the World Cup. What a way to come back and start things off 12 months on. Become the master of Lyon, really. Well, leading the line for the presentation, Richard Vogel. And the Carlswood partners, Gangston Mondelsier, the 9-year-old stallion by Canan, in their 3rd show together. Could mention that he's won 3 of his last 4 classes in still what is only 3 shows together. Well, it's a bit of a new experience under the lights. Gangsters certainly learning a lot tonight. And you can see, like Richard said, it's his job when he goes in that arena, and it was the same for the presentation, but it's so important. The jumping is just about keeping Gangster calm. He knows he's here to compete, and he wants to compete, and he's all excited to do that. This is what he won't have experienced before, because he's only been jumping outdoors. You suddenly come indoors, and then you have all the spotlight, all the noise of the crowd, the music. What a night of sport we've started off with here for Longines Equita Lyon Concours Hippique International of 2025. It's been a great night of sport with a superb jump off to round it all off, but a winner once more. Richard Vogel for Germany. As we prepare to play the national anthem, I can then leave you enjoy the awards ceremony. And of course, hope you'll join us again over the weekend. From me, Gareth Jenkins, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll leave you enjoy as we stand and rise for the anthem of Germany. Richard Vogel and Gangston Mondelsier, the winners of the Longines Grand Prix. We'll catch up again soon on FEI TV.
Richard Rogel et cet étalon fils de canal, petit-fils de Cornette Mullins, milieu de 7 français, gangster, mon désir.
Congratulations to Richard Bergwall for Germany with this horse, which is just 9 years of age, the son of Cannon and a grandson of Paul Duplanski, belonging to Carlsberg Partners and bred by the Anna of
Et voici donc monsieur Bertrand Delbert, directeur général Swatchbank France et brand manager Longines pour remettre officiellement le trophée qui va donc accompagner cette belle victoire qui ira donc au poignet de ce grand champion, le champion d'Europe actuel, le détenteur de la victoire de l'étape Coupe du Monde l'année dernière. Et vos applaudissements pour saluer donc cette belle victoire et donc la montre de Richard Rogel, Longines.
Congratulated by Bertrand Delbert, the managing director of Swatch Group France and the brand manager of Longines.
Monsieur le Président de la Fédération Française d'Équitation, Frédéric Brix, et la Présidente de Geodet Equestrian Sport, Sylvie Robert, pour aller remettre donc le bronze. On salue encore une fois ce grand champion, Richard Rogel, voilà, qui reçoit donc une nouvelle fois les honneurs. Et en plus, un bon bouquet d'applaudissements du public lyonnais pour saluer donc le sacre de ce soir du Grand Prix Longines.
And congratulated also by the French Equestrian Federation President Frédéric Brix, Sylvie Robert, the chairman of GLEVENTS Equestrian Sport.
Ces images sont en train de faire le tour du monde et il entre dans l'histoire des vainqueurs, du voir dans l'histoire du Grand Prix Longines, Richard Rogel. Il était bien le numéro 1 terme de cette victoire juste fabuleuse. Richard, eh bien, on va se déplacer pour qu'on ait le plaisir de saluer l'ensemble des cavaliers, qu'on ait le loisir évidemment de saluer aussi la deuxième place au Rennes d'enjeu de Crisien, le champion olympique actuel numéro 2 mondial, Ben Maher.
Congratulations also to the Olympic champion and world number 2 within the Olympic son of Toulon, Ben Maher.
Qui bénéficie aussi du savoir-faire des éleveurs français qui ont poursuivi donc justement Toulon Diamo pour enjeu de Crisien, qui s'installe là encore une fois parmi les meilleurs de cette soirée aux couleurs de Longines. La Grande-Bretagne est donc deuxième. La troisième place va entendre des applaudissements pour l'Allemagne avec ce ping-pong von Lantemel. Bravo, Gerrit Lieberg.
And congratulations also to the third place tonight with the Skyball Big Pong van der Lentenel, Gerrit Lieberg.
Un cheval de 10 ans, un fils d'Émerald, petit-fils de Toulon, cheval belge avec le cavalier allemand, troisième meilleur compétiteur de cette soirée donc, Gerrit Lieberg, qui mériterait bien d'entendre le public lyonnais saluer justement sa belle prestation. Il est quatrième, mais il est bien le numéro 1 français ce soir, avec son fleuve de Lipré, Antoine Herman.
And the best French performance here tonight in Lyon with his 10-year-old Freudian play, Antoine Herman.
Le cavalier équitable by GLEVENTS, équitable rider donc Antoine Herman et son fils de Vigo CC, cheval de 10 ans, petit-fils de Papillon Rouge, qui lui permet donc d'entrer dans l'histoire du Grand Prix Longines de ce soir, en étant le numéro 1 français, quatrième de ce Grand Prix. Bravo donc Antoine, qui fait équipe avec évidemment sa coéquipière, l'écurie Cheval, qui va faire carton plein. Jeanne, elle est bien la numéro 1, les cavalières, un des liens devant ce soir, elle est là, cinquième, Jeanne Chalot pour la France.
Congratulations also to the best looking rider in this jump-off, Francis Jeanne Sadron in fifth place.
Et le fils du champion du monde Mylord Carthago, petit-fils aussi d'un autre grand champion, Diamant de Semilly, voilà Dexter de Kerelen, les talons stars de l'écurie Cheval, qui aura une nouvelle plaque sur la porte de ce box grâce à la prestation de Jeanne Sadran, qui sera ravi d'entendre l'applaudissement retentir une nouvelle fois. La cinquième, meilleure de cette soirée. Le médaillé d'or des Pays-Bas de cette année, victoire tout à l'heure dans le prix Groupama. William Brel va s'avancer pour entendre Lyon saluer aussi sa 6e place. William Brel, Pretty Woman on in Paradise.
And congratulations to our sixth place tonight, representing the Netherlands with his 10-year-old daughter of world champion Vigo d'Arsouy, Willem Brel.
Effectivement, avec une jument de 10 ans, fille d'un autre champion du monde, Vigo d'Arsouy, petite fille de Pamako de Buse. Une 6e place qui vaudra donc entendre une fois Lyon saluer donc le néerlandais William Rêve. Et il y avait donc 3 cavalières dans cette finale, 2e donc et 7e de cette soirée longine pour la Suède, Petronella Andersson.
Congratulations also to Sweden and in the 7th position for them with Opaline WS, Petronella Andersson.
Avec Opaline WS, jument fille des Toulon et petite fille de Kamikaze des Forêts que l'on connaît maintenant sous le nom de Sirocco Blue. Bravo Petronella Andersson, bravo la Suède. Et l'Irlandais va s'avancer pour qu'il ait aussi le plaisir d'entendre Lyon saluer sa 8e place. Bertrand Valène, Conquest de Rigaud.
Congratulations also to Ireland and an 8th place tonight with the 9-year-old by Phantomus Deleuze, Conquest de Rigaud and Bertram Allen.
Un cheval de 9 ans par Fantomas de Buse et Idotros, un cheval belge qui permet donc à l'Irlandais d'être classé le 8e meilleur du Grand Prix de ce soir aux couleurs de Longines. J'ai eu le plaisir de saluer tous ces cavalières et cavaliers. On a passé une belle soirée grâce à Longines. C'est pourquoi, évidemment, Sylvie Robert, en tant que président de GL20, remet donc évidemment la plaque partenaire. Et il serait bon de remercier tous ces partenaires grâce auxquels nous avons le plaisir de vivre 31 éditions d'équipe à Lyon. Merci Longines. Et maintenant, comme il convient de le faire, Lyon va pouvoir donner ses cadeaux à l'ensemble de ses cavaliers. Vous savez ce qu'il vous reste à faire, Lyon en cadence à l'occasion de ce tour d'honneur du Grand Prix Longines. Et le public se lève à Lyon pour saluer la victoire de Richard Fozel.
It's also world number 2, Ben Mayer.
Bravo la main, Gerrit Kiberg.
It's also the Frenchie, Antoine Herman.
Et sa coéquipière, Jeanne Savron.
The Netherlands and Willem Red.
La Suède, Petronella Andersson.
Ireland, Bertram Allen.
Évidemment, on va se le garder pour nous tout seuls. On va pas bouder notre plaisir d'entendre tout Lyon. Allez, pour un dernier tour d'honneur. Pour tout Lyon. La victoire des Longines. Pour Richard Fozel. Et puis vite. Lyon, et puis vite. Pour y avoir le deuxième partie de soirée.
Bouclage quand tu vas ouvrir. Je comprends pas pourquoi il était off.